Welcome to the Goodereader radio show. This is Marcus, and today we're going to talk about 3 new e-reading devices that might usurp the market dominant players in the game right now. And for all you guys that may not know who those companies are, you're looking at Amazon Kindle and Kindle DX as one of them. That's number 1. So they're the primarily the most popular electronic reader on the market, seconded by the new Barnes & Noble Nook, as well following number 3, Sony. So Sony's just released the Daily, the 900, which is quickly becoming very popular. So the 3 new ones that are going to be hitting the scenes very shortly, roughly March and June of this year, between there, these 3 will come out. The first one is the Notion Link Atom. Now, we're going to talk about the iPad in a second, but the Notion Link Atom is claiming to have dual-core processor, NVIDIA chipset for the video. So you're looking at 1080p video playback. You're looking at being able to multitask. You're looking at being able to have Firefox and Chrome as your primarily browser interface experiences. You're also looking at being able to do a lot of the things that the Apple iPad can't do. Now, the big reason why people should consider the Notion Link Atom, it's coming out June of this year. It's going to be coming out June of this year, and it's going to be released to a primarily North American and European audience. There's no word yet whether they're going to have a bookstore affiliated with them, but primarily you're looking at this device as an e-reader / multimedia device. And the next generation of electronic readers is really focused on the multimedia experience. The 3 new readers that are going to be coming is, of course, the Notion Link Atom, the Entourage Edge e-reader, as well as the Apple iPad. Now, for those of you who have missed out, the Apple iPad is a very new device that's coming out soon. So roughly about a 9-inch screen, fully colored, fully touchscreen interactive. It's compatible with all of the newest as well as the oldest applications in the Apple App Store. So if you have favorite applications such as Facebook, or applications such as being able to decide where you want to go for dinner that evening, as well as popular games or anything that you've bought in the past from the App Store, you will be able to not only use them on your iPod or iPhone, but you'll be able to use it on the iPad. Now, the Apple iPad, unlike the Notion Link Atom, is not able to do Flash, and you're stuck with the iPad's default Safari browser. Now, the 2 big differences between Notion Link Atom and the Apple iPad is that the Apple iPad can multitask and do Flash, whereas the iPad cannot. The iPad is on a closed operating system that Apple's devised. Meanwhile, the Notion Link Atom is done on Google Android system. So for those of you who do not know a whole lot about Google's Android operating system, it's more or less an open source system. So it's very much akin to Unix and Linux in the ability of third-party programmers being able to make their own applications, their own games, and being able to have this stuff downloaded immediately. Whereas if you're a developer for Apple or wanting to get your stuff in the Apple App Store, there's a lot of rigorous quality control that Apple does, as well as a lot of content that changes the end user's device is automatically not allowed, which is the main reason why Apple can't support Flash, because Flash changes things and does cookies and influences the end user's machine, and anything that influences the end user's machine as far as settings go, Apple automatically says no. So that's the big advantage that the Notion Link Atom has over the iPad, is that it's more or less an open source device. There is a prototype available right now. There's a lot of videos on our forum at goodereader.com/forum. So if you want to get the latest news on the Apple iPad as well as the Notion Ink Atom, as well as see demonstration videos, full specs. We're not going to dive into the semantics of specs on the show, but if you want to find out more about it, duly check it out. Now, at the top of the show, I mentioned the Entourage Edge e-reader. Now, this is an e-reader that should be coming out mid-March of 2010. It's a dual-screen reader as well as a workstation entertainment device. It's primarily set at college students, high school students, people that primarily need to read, say, textbooks and things like that. It reses out textbooks very well as its full color and full touch screen. So you can do doodles, you can do notes, you can take notes during lectures and classes, or if you're a professional in the workplace where you're in meetings a lot of the times and you're taking quick little notes, jotting down important information, you can do it. Now, the nice thing about a dual screen machine is that you flip it open like a book, where on one screen is one page and on another screen is a totally different page. So on one screen you can have the notes that you're taking, and on the other screen you can actually have a textbook being loaded up. To give you guys a bit of a visual reference, it looks and opens a lot like a Nintendo DS does, except there's way more screen available than the Nintendo DS. But that's the closest thing that I can comparison to. Each screen is 9.7 inches on each side, so you have two dual 19.7-inch screens. Now, it comes with about 4 gigabytes of internal storage, so it can hold roughly about 3,000 textbooks, e-readers, and so on. The operating system is on a heavily modified version of Android. It'll also be able to play back music as well. So it is a good little machine. It's certainly not in the same league as far as the iPad goes, as far as being able to be a full-on multimedia device. The niche that the Entourage Edge is trying to get into is that it's more into a type of device that you have at work, at school. It's primarily, they're trying to bill it as a working types utility. Now, it's very light, it weighs next to nothing. You'd find that the iPad is actually bulky in comparison to this device, and it folds up neatly inside of a little book. Now, those are the 3 newest devices that will be coming out very, very shortly. Roughly between March and June of this year, you're going to see iterations of all these devices. The iPad ships out then in March. This Entourage Edge ships out in March, as well as the Notion Ink Atom will ship sometime in June. If you're wanting to make a decision on your next purchase as far as these next generation of devices go, the one big thing about these 3 devices that we've talked about so far is that their color and they're backlit, but they also have gray modes. The big disadvantage of, say, an e-reader like a Nook or a Kindle is, despite the fact that you can do RSS feeds, you can look at blogs, you can search the net on some of them, that they're not backlit, which means that you need to be in a very light environment, and you have to be able to have it so you're looking at it, it's in one hand, whereas these other devices, they can also be held in one hand, but they're backlit in full color, and they're able to do a lot more than a standard e-reader does. So suffice to say, it's pretty interesting with the iPad, the Notion Link Atom, and the Entourage Edge, as well as the upcoming Microsoft Courier, which in a future episode of our show, we're going to talk extensively about the new Microsoft Courier and how it's really going to change the way people approach e-readers and multimedia workstation devices. So perhaps that's the future of e-readers. Nobody really knows at this point, because e-readers and the next stage in the iPads and the Ink Atom, it's very up in the air on how well they'll sell. my impression is that they're going to sell a whole lot, and it may change the way that people think and look at e-readers. Thanks for listening.